Hello, dear friends, my lovely fellow Angelinos. Welcome to the show, Jack Xiao on the East-West Show with G&E TV. Today is another show for what I feel that I'm doing the right thing. Once again, we are talking about a position that's for a long time, for many years in the past, needed to be run by a better hand. That is the LASD, LA County Sheriff Department. We're not kind of like a rapacious. We just want somebody, good man, the right man for the right job, because the job is too big. It's not everybody else can handle, right? So among all the candidates, I see, trust my eye, sometimes my audience by me, I see my friend Bob Lindsay, a former commander of LA County Sheriff Department, is the most hopeful, not one of, the most hopeful. I'm not saying this for nothing. I said this for a homework, and I put them by number 12 font, and I leave no space between lines and run 3 pages, right? So I want to check with him if I'm right, one by one. So Bob, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Jack. Thank you.
How do you like that as a little line?
It's beautiful. Thank you very much. I'm honored. Good. I'm honored to be here.
Thank you.
And honored to be with you.
But before we touch everything, we want to talk about the fear about the fire, right? The fire right now is really getting out of hand, and it is getting everybody's nerves.
Yes.
So
yes.
What do we need to do to stay better off? And later we want to find out, if you have time, I still want to get information from you about, in a situation like this, how you as a commander on the post, I mean in charge, right, the man in charge,
right,
once you took office, coordinate between the fire department of the county and the police department, sheriff department of the county to get a better job done, please.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, there's a lot of brush fires out there right now, and I think the most important thing for the public to remember is this. When there is a brush fire, there's a lot of smoke. Okay. You know, be sure you keep your kids safe out of the smoke so that they're not inhaling it, because a lot of times in these areas where the brush fires start, there's plastics, there's cardboard, there's other things burning, not just brush.
Not only wood, carbon thing, right?
Exactly, and some of this can be toxic chemicals, so you have to be careful. You know, that's one of the most dangerous things about being a fireman. You know, police officers have a dangerous job.
I see.
It's a very dangerous job, but firemen, even though they don't do the same thing we do, their job is extremely dangerous because they're exposed to this smoke. Yeah, if they don't have their breathing apparatus that they put on their face.
That is not 100%, is it?
It is if you have it on correctly and you have the right equipment.
I see.
But a lot of times, and I'll give you an example, if you're driving down the freeway and there's a big brush fire, you know, be sure that you turn off your air conditioning. Don't be sucking that smoke in from the outside and doing those sorts of things.
Close the window.
Close the windows. Try and get through that so that you don't get that smoke in the car. Because, you know, especially if you have kids in the car, you don't want them breathing that. And I know most recently we had one right here on the 57 freeway. And everybody was getting stuck in all that traffic because it was down to one lane. So you can sit there for a little while, but be patient and protect yourself.
And I like to, on behalf of my audience, thank you very much for thinking about us.
You bet. You bet.
We the people are the ones they thought about last.
Yeah. No.
So thank you for thinking of us first. That's one of the qualities of you that I notice, and I believe my audience would have to notice that it's really somebody you want to cherish, some kind of concern you want to cherish. You remember about. Okay. Once again. You heard my friend Bob Lindsay say that in a situation like this, you try to protect yourself as not to inhale that much of the smoke, especially your kids.
Yes.
Yeah, all right, very good. So normally in a situation, I mean, natural disaster like that, how would the sheriff department and the fire department of the county coordinate? In other words, once you're in office, you're on the post, right? How
Yes.
would you want to coordinate your people?
Now, Jack, this is a very good question because there's different levels of danger and there's different levels of serious activities that happen, you know, in LA County. So I'll give you an example. The little brush fires, they're responded to by the sheriff's department. They're going to get a phone call, and also the fire department. The sheriff's department is there to protect the public, that they don't get into the fire, that they direct traffic, that they keep the area cordoned off and safe, while the firefighters go in and do the dangerous work of putting that fire out. And that's what we were talking about before. But what you'll see in a brush fire, just a normal brush fire along the freeway, is you'll see a response from fire, and you'll see a response from a few police officers who are doing those things. But when we get into major fires, like let's say the Malibu fires, remember how, you know, every few years,
many years ago, Malibu fire,
the mountains are on fire, the hills are on fire. That takes a coordinated effort. And when I was on the sheriff's department, what I was an incident management team commander.
Oh, I see.
So my job was to take an entire team, and we would go out there, and they would outfit us with trailers. So we would actually be in a command trailer, and we would have people assigned to different things. One assigned to logistics, meaning we have to get cars in there, we have to get food in there, we have to get water in there, we have to do all those things. Another one would be responsible for media relations, talking to Jack.
Jack might be there with a camera on.
That's right.
Like that.
And so they would be responsible.
And you want to protect me too.
Absolutely. And they would be talking to you, giving you updates about the fire. But more importantly, Jack, is that the sheriff's department and the fire department are there hand in hand. So the sheriffs are talking to the fire is talking to the sheriffs. We are maybe shutting down streets, we're evacuating people, we're doing all those things based on the information that the fire chief is giving us.
I see.
And then our job is to also protect the firemen, make sure that nothing's happening to them, make sure that if we have to evacuate them or do what we need to do, that we can do those things.
It sounds like a left and right hand, right?
It's a left and a right hand.
Left, right hand.
Holding on to each other.
Holding on to each other.
That's right.
And back then with the Malibu fire, you were on the post as a commander, right?
Yes, I was.
All right, you've been on commander for a long time.
Yes.
How many years have you been as a commander? I'm checking about my my record that you have somewhere around more than 20 years of police commander leadership and the union board experiences.
Yes, I was a sergeant at a very young age, and then made lieutenant, then I made captain, and then I made commander.
Wow.
At the same time, what I did was I felt, you know, that it was important that all of the employees on the department were engaged, that they knew what was going on, that they were communicated with. So I became on the board of directors for the police union. And so I was also there. So I've got a lot of experience, you know, at least 20 years, 33 years, almost 33 years of law enforcement experience. And then I'm still, you know, in my capacity, I still have another 4 or 5 years of that. So I'm almost getting to 40 years.
Altogether, you have on the record, on my record, well, of course, my record, not my record, is a public record that I absorb. You have altogether a condensed 32 years at least with the LA County Sheriff Department.
Yes, that is.
Am I right?
That is right.
That's very solid. And prior to that, you have other jobs. They are lighter duties relatively, but in a condensed way, more than 32 years of LA County Sheriff experiences.
Exactly.
That's why you can answer my question, even the fire question, right away. I was there, right? Like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. No. I heard my friend telling me like that.
Oh no! In 32 years, you see a lot, you do a lot, and in those 32 years,
you
I
have the kind of experiences of on the spot, hands-on experiences.
Yes.
Not I heard of. All right, very good. So I appreciate the fact that you can answer my question right away. I was there.
Thank you,
for
Dick.
example,
Thank
the Malibu fire,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
For example, some things, so on and so forth. Those are the fact that us, the voters, like to vote on. You know what? We're selfish. In a sense, we're selfish because we want a better hand to protect us.
Yeah. You know what's funny, and this includes earthquakes too.
Oh, yeah. Oh, tell me something about that,
We
please.
haven't talked about that, but the Northridge earthquake.
Today,
is-
exactly today, there is a shake-up experiment. They do a shake-up, yeah. Tell me something about that, please. My audience want to know.
Yeah,
that.
so these management teams that I was in control of, and I had one, there were 4 that we had at the time, but we would respond to these different things. If there's a major emergency, we're on call, and our team would immediately activate and go to where the problem was, go to where the issue was, so we could help that local community. And, you know, as exciting as it sounds, it's also a very scary thing for everybody that's in the community. You know, I am one of those people, earthquakes don't scare me because I grew up in California. But I would never want to be in a tornado.
Oh,
I would
no.
never want to be, you know, I look at it and say, how can they live there?
Thank God that California has less tornado.
That's right. But you
than
know what?
earthquakes,
A lot of people who live where there are tornadoes look at us and say, how can you possibly live where you have earthquakes? Because the earthquake scares them.
Yeah, very, very
You know what?
scary.
If you live here in California, we're going to have earthquakes. And the main thing that people need to understand is they need to be prepared for an earthquake. They need to have the right amount of water at home. They need to have the right amount of food at home. They need to be prepared so that if something happens and it's a really bad earthquake, the markets may not have food anymore.
And
All
at
those
the
things could
precise moment when the shake starts, though,
Right.
and you guys are the one on the street to further protect. Remember when with the either Whittier earthquake or
Yes.
the Northridge earthquake, some officers died on the spot right away because they ran out of the freeway, ran out of the bridge or something.
It's very dangerous if you
Very
if you
dangerous, yeah.
run to the wrong spot. If you run beneath a building that's collapsing, or that bricks will fall out, or windows may fall out, you put yourself in danger. You have to be very careful and go to the right place and protect yourself.
Thank you for protecting us.
Yes,
Thank you.
indeed.
And that's exactly why we need a better hand, all right? If you want to stay or stick to somebody who prefers to see better looking, handsomer uniform or a straightened up badge, that's a different story.
Yeah.
You want a hard at work, diligent,
Yes.
protectors to protect you head to toe. Bob Lindsay is that kind of commander that I describe. I say for sure, the fact I say for sure is because I know him. Is because I did my homework. Not only I know him as a friend, I did my homework. I know exactly we are picking the right man for the job. Let's take a very short moment out. When we come back, I'm going to give you a quiz.
Thank
one
you.
by one, to the one checking about why it happened, when it happened, how do you feel, things like that.
When
Right?
we're done, I hope I get a happy face.
All right, please. All right, so we'll be right back. Hello, my dear friends, my lovely audiences. I call you my fellow Angelinos. We're talking about our Los Angeles County today. We're talking about the county election, the county sheriff department, the sheriff election. For the past years, we kind of getting more and more unsatisfied with things going on. When, in other words, if it is something in New York, we don't care, right? But it is us. Us meaning that we, the community, needs more protections, especially when you have AB 109 or Proposition 47 or 57 or so on and so forth. You have those bad guys early released on the street to mingle with your daughter, your sons, whatsoever, or even your dog. are with them, right?
That's
we
right.
do need a better hand. The better hand being, thanks to the democracy system, every now and then we consider ourselves, we ask ourselves, are we having a better hand? Are you satisfied with the guy get that there? Or lady there, necessarily, right? So when we have that system, why don't we use it, right? So now we're talking about the election of coming June of 2018. We might want a better hand. That is my friend Bob Lindsay. Like I said, I know him not because he's a friend of mine. I know him because on public record, this much, right? So welcome back to the show.
Thank you, Jack. Thank you very much.
Now your quiz. Okay. Now, my question is that if you look at somebody's life expectancy, you're talking about 80 years on average, right? And then from 0 to 20, well, he literally can't do anything, right? Now, from 60 to 80, well, you're retired. All you have in between is between 20 and 60, that's 40 years.
Right.
During that 40 years, you might take some years off, you might get married, you might build your house, or so on and so forth. And then the condensed way, let's give it 30 years. However, in your case, you condensedly put yourself in line for 32 years already. Am I right, or am I right with the public record?
You know what? For 32 years, it was my privilege and an honor to wear the badge of Los Angeles County and to serve the public and to help them anytime I could.
And within the 32 years, there were more than 20 you were on the commander's post.
In management positions, yes.
Management position too, and also union board position.
Yes.
And doing negotiations, understanding people, right?
Right.
And in other words, you were 20 years of out of the 32, you were on the leadership position.
Yes.
Am I right? Okay.
That's
Now,
correct.
quiz number one.
Okay.
Right. So, do you someday, if you want to start office tomorrow, do you need training?
No, I don't need any training to take the position.
Please say do. Please say you do.
Of sheriff. But I will tell you this, I'm smart enough to know I always need to surround myself with good, strong people who know what they're doing also.
All right.
It's a very important aspect of leadership
Good, yeah,
because I can't do everything. And I will also say this, as much as I know, I'll never know everything. So when you talk about training, we can all be trained.
Never too late to learn.
It's never too late to learn.
Never too late to learn.
Never too late.
Like say somebody asked me, Jack, you wanted to get training before you can start hosting a show. I said, no, I don't need a training, but I'm ready to learn.
That's right.
How about that?
We always have to be open to
Very
learning.
good. Very
and
good.
Jack, open to listening.
Very good, very good, very good. I like that. I like that. So, you know, sometime when you are in a leadership position, you're talking about not your capability of hands-on picking this up or put that door on or drive your screwdriver like that. You want to know how you want to manage it, right? How to allocate your people,
Right.
right? How to balance the whole board, something like that, right? Now,
You know, Jack, I grew up through the department, and when you talk about turning the knob or turning on the light, I did those things. But when you get to the position of management, then what you do is you help the other people that are under you know how to do that. And every once in a while,
exactly.
it's nice when managers go down and they turn the knob and they flip the light to remember how it was so that you can remember how hard those jobs are that other people are doing.
There's another aspect you also want to consider. It's a much better case when you have a commander who has worked out his way all the way from bottom up.
Yes.
Right? Take myself, for example. I used to hold the camera running like a rabbit on the street.
I didn't know that.
Right? And well, I know exactly how to initiate a conversation, and in which angles to shoot a picture, and how I want to compose the article or essay about this very person, those details. So now,
Very important details.
Of course, I'm
Very
not
important.
doing it now, right?
Right.
However, if someday, somehow, somebody calls sick, very important person calls sick, I kick in,
Yes.
right?
You
Could
have
be
that.
me.
You have the experience and the knowledge.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
That means the readiness. The
That's right.
readiness, right? So you confirm yourself having that readiness from bottom bottom up, right?
Yes.
I knew-
Bottoms up.
I knew that you started at the very, very bottom,
Yes.
right, all the way. Now, and then also somebody summed it up, says that you are, or you emphasize a leadership with a solid ethics, family value.
Yes,
What
sir.
does that mean, please?
You know what? And I know all of us at one time or another are going to be asked to do things that we know are wrong. Even in the sheriff's department, there are some people in there. Not everybody is perfect. Not everybody is good. So when you're in a position of leadership and somebody asks you to do the wrong thing, you have to be strong enough and wise enough
To resist.
to say no. Because you know what? I can go to bed at night, put my head on the pillow, and know I've done all the right things. I don't work for somebody who tells me to do the wrong things and then do it because I'll get a promotion, or do the wrong thing because it will help me,
right.
or do the wrong thing because it's easier. We have to do the right thing in life.
Right, all right.
And that's a very important
very
aspect
good, very good, very good.
of what police officers, managers, and everybody in law enforcement should consider.
First, you're talking about a quality of knowing what's right. Second, you're talking about the guts to stand for what's right,
Yes.
right? And then thirdly, you're talking about the leadership to lead the people do the same thing like you do.
That's very important. Very
Right.
important.
I'm not just again trying to collect the credit to myself. You can call me that way.
Right.
Swear, I mean seriously, seriously. I never banned. So my back is my back. I never ban. I only ban to my parents. That's it. I never ban. So because I stick to what's right. Thank you for being that kind of quality, brother.
Thank you, Jim.
I really
Thank you.
appreciate that, and I respect that. For us, my dear audiences, to have somebody on that command post, L.A. County Sheriff, the whole head of the department, you really need somebody of that kind of quality. Am I right?
It's
That
important.
quality,
It's
yeah.
important
Yes.
that the leader
Yeah.
lead by example.
Yes, of course. Yes, of course. Yeah. And we have Chinese verb saying the what is it the in the wood house structure, the truss, right?
Yes.
The truss, right?
Yes. The truss holds up the roof.
The truss, right? And we have a saying that if the truss tilts, it rocks the house. It's gonna get down anyway, sooner or later.
Yes.
So you're talking about the truss.
Yes.
Right, very good. Thank you for being that.
Thank
I
you.
really appreciate it. Let's see. There's still time we do another quick one because I have this many pages. Well, because you're 32 years old together.
Yes.
Right? So, and then integrity experiences in the community, right? So, you're talking about integritize the community to reflect a common sense that is taken as a culture under the leadership of the sheriff department. Am I right?
Yes.
I'm trying to see the logic. Yeah.
You know what? The sheriff's department is family, and I know that your community is very strong family oriented. It's very important that we take care of families. And so when you take the community and when you take the sheriff's department, they have to come together as a family, not as the sheriff's department. The sheriff's department can work alone all day long and not do it right. Families can ask for help and never get help if the sheriff doesn't show up.
You're right.
But when they all work together as a family, it works much, much better. And that's what we have. You know, yesterday I went and met a guy, and when we talk about working in the community, I met a guy named Manny Mota. Manny is a superstar baseball player, and he runs a foundation. And that foundation, he collects clothing, collects household goods, and he takes those and he takes them to Dominican. He takes them into his hands, and then his hands give them direct to the people who need them most.
All right.
That's what we need to do. We need to deliver service with our hands
All
to the
right.
people who needs it most.
When you express it, I can see the mind setting.
Yes.
The mind setting is the kind of like a ready to serve thing, and willingness to consider the county sheriff department as a part of the community.
We should be servants to the community.
So, all right, very good. Servants to the community. I let my servant break a little bit. We'll be right back. All right. Give him time for a sip of water. So we'll be right back, please. Hello, lovely friends, my dear fellow Angelinos. Welcome back to the show. The show being having a good time with my friend Bob Lindsay, candidate for county sheriff of County LA, who's been on the job for 32 years, all commander posts for 20 years, and who needs no training at all to start the job, and who is also, nevertheless, ready to learn new stuff, and who is considering himself as a member of the community, and under such concept, the whole department of county sheriff is a part of the community.
Yes,
right?
Indeed.
By that, I was so touched, I went even overboard because that segment was too long. So I asked my editor to do me a favor, to cut myself off, to keep him there, because I like those statements.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Jim.
much. You got me touched. Thank you.
It's from the heart, and I know you're always from the heart.
Very much so. Speaking of a set of mind, though, there are three words that describing, right? And I want you to explain them if possible.
Sure.
Patience, diversity, compassion. The three. How do you see the three, please?
You know, deputy sheriffs or any police officers, when they're called out to a scene, it's usually chaotic. There's so many things going on. And when you get there, you don't want to make a rash decision. You don't want to make a fast decision, usually. You want to listen. You want to be patient with a person that's upset because they're going through a lot. It's maybe something they've never gone through before. And although we as police officers have seen it many, many times, it's new to them. So it's important that we show that patience for the public, that we sit and that we be good listeners. And when it comes to the compassion...
Patience.
Patience.
That's called patience.
That is patience.
Like the officer, what's his name? Troy Mason? No, what's his last name? Troy, the one I mentioned about.
Oh,
right?
yes, yes.
Troy, he had the patience to listen, right? As a result, he heard a totally different story than what the surrounding would tell.
That's right.
Right? That's good.
Yeah, see, when you go somewhere, not everybody tells you the truth.
Yeah, you're
you
right.
have this
you're
story
right.
and you have this story. And you have to decide what's real
Very
and what's
good.
not.
The patient counts, right?
Yes.
To listen. And then you're talking about compassion. Yeah, please.
You know, the compassion that it takes, when you're a police officer, after you've arrested a lot of people, after you've done so many things and seen so many things, sometimes you can get to the point where it's just another day. It's just another scene. It's just another accident scene. It's just this. But you know what? It's not. Every day is a new day. Every day that you meet somebody new, it's somebody new that can come into your life and that you can make a difference for. It's not yesterday, it's today. And so every day we need to realize that we can make a difference in somebody's life. And we have to show that compassion so that people understand. The people who wear the badge, the people who are coming to help them aren't bad people. We're good people. We're there, we want to make a difference in their lives, and we want to do everything that we possibly can to help them.
Thank you very much for speaking the truth. Right. more often than not, I come across situations exactly like you described. Because they do it so much, they do it on a day-to-day basis. It's just another day, right? Just another day. This is SSDD stuff.
Yes.
Right?
True. Yeah.
Okay, hate that word, but it's, well, so, okay, even on stage, we see musicians or go to a concert. You really, really, I swear to God, you can see the difference. Type 1, they are so good at it, they can do it either way. Bam, 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 bam. They did it so well, so smooth, so good, no itch, no nothing. Right? Type 1. And type B, you can see exactly the musician is in it.
Yes.
He is crying, he is laughing, he is talking, he is singing. Totally different.
It's a perfect example, though.
Am I right?
Absolutely right.
I really like your explanation of compassion, taking every day as a different day. Suppose, my dear audiences, if that concept goes the culture, as a culture of the county sheriff department, well, you're talking about substantial change from the bottom. Am I right?
That's correct.
Very good, very good. So, and you really want to put them together, and there is another word, diversity. So what's diversity in your mind is, please?
You know what? The Sheriff's Department polices a community that has the most diverse community probably in the world, right here in LA County, from all sorts of different continents, different countries, and even within our own United States, from all sorts of different states. But what we have to do is we have to reach out. We have to reach out and say, hey, you know what? This community, whether it's the Chinese community, the Korean community, the Vietnamese community, the black community, the Hispanic community, we have to get representatives inside the department doing these jobs. So that we begin to not only look like the community, we begin to understand the community much better.
And think like a community.
We need to think like the community, and we need to think for the community in this regard. When they give us information, when they help us to do our job, then we become a part of that community's fix. We become a part of the solution, not a part of any problem.
And to the constituents' point of view, if you have somebody who speaks your own language there as one of them, right, the sheriffs,
Yes.
you feel much better.
It's imperative.
There's more trust there,
Yes.
right?
Much more.
Much more trust.
Much more.
Okay, very good. So the word diversity and the word compassion and then the word patience all together, do you think you want, once you take position, you take office, you want the three to form a culture of the LASD?
Well, you know, Jack, we've talked before about the Asian Crime Task Force. You and I have talked about that at length.
I still miss it.
And you know, this sheriff that we currently have, he's the one that stopped that program. But I will tell you this, and we have a friend of ours that's going to be coming on your program, which I'm very excited about.
All right.
Because he's going to be able to explain this. But when that program was separated from the Sheriff's Department, it made a large impact to the community. But I want to tell you, because of you and your program and our saying that program needs to come back, this current sheriff is afraid. He's
good.
afraid not to bring it back.
I see.
So even if he brings it back just because he's in a campaign or just because, it helps the community. And that's what you and I are here for. Bring the program back.
You know, bringing back is one thing, but there is always a difference between capitulation and willingness to do so.
Right.
We're talking about the willingness. We see the necessity. We feel from the bottom of our heart, let's do it, rather than compared to versus the fact that, well, I have to capitulate.
Yes.
Right? I have the ban, like that kind of thing, right? So I like that. And I'm so glad that we media, as news media, we function, right?
Yes.
We speak on behalf of the constituents, the community member. Okay, let me do a little explanation here. As news media, about 80–90% of the time, we stand in the middle of the road. We take no partisanship, no left or right position, so on and so forth. However, when it comes to right and wrong, of course we're not choosing the side of criminals, right?
Right.
We're choosing the side of the people.
Yes.
Right? We're choosing the side of the right. So now, for a task force organization, which doesn't even cost a dime, right, to be dismissed, I don't think why. I mean, there should be a logic reason whatsoever. I'm going to ask that officer that you said that will be scheduled on, right? Next week or coming week?
Next Thursday, hopefully.
Next week. I'll ask him, right? Okay. Now, and there is still time to insert another one, short one. Crime reduction and is one on top of your list. As you can see, there's a number one there, right?
Yes.
So on top of your list, that means that once you want to do is start a job, start taking office, the first thing you want to do. How do you want to do it?
You know, right now, because of some of the propositions, and you mentioned earlier that people are getting let out of jail early, prisoners are getting let out, and I've told you before that if you're sentenced to a year in jail, you only do 10 days. You don't do a year, you do 10 days.
All right.
So you're right back outside onto the streets. Crime right now is up.
Flash incarceration.
Yes.
Okay.
Crime is up. It's not here. Crime is up here. And it's getting worse. But yet arrests are down. What does that tell you? That tells you that there's plenty of people to arrest, but the deputies aren't doing it. The police officers aren't arresting as many people. And why? A lot of it has to do with morale. A lot of it has to do with understanding the community needs.
All right.
So it's important as the sheriff that when we come in, we give the deputies the proper training, the proper education, but most of all, we give them support. We give them a smiling face, and they know the fact that they're going to be supported not only by their sheriff, but by the community, because the community needs the police. When you pick up a phone and you call for the police, if they didn't show up, it would be a bad day.
All right. Probably we should call for a break right now, because I want to stretch that tomorrow. The morality is really an issue that I want to sneak into, please, right?
Yes, sir.
So let's make it another segment when we come back. All right, my dear audience, today with my dear friend Bob Lindsay, we are having a very, very good time, at least I do. And we not only touch the points, we go into the spiritual behind of each of the points. Some of the statements are made very, very touchy. And I believe, my audience, if you watch this, you will like it. You will know what we're talking about. You will know why this man for the job is the title of the show. So stay with us, please. Hello, my lovely friends, my dear audiences, my lovely fellow Angelinos. Welcome back to the show. Los Angeles County is big. It's one of the biggest counties of the nation. However, the last 2 years and a little more, we have seen stuff that we are not quite satisfied. And the dissatisfaction goes on and on and on and on until people decided, okay, come on, let's get another guy. At least I think that way, right? And lots of my audiences think that way. Oh, by the way, our show's got lots of response. My friends who knows my number, or even the office number, call me, say that they want to support the fact that we are changing hands. We're getting them a better hand.
Thank you.
Hopefully you be the better hand, right?
Yes.
So anyway,
better two hands.
Well, yeah, let's keep up the promise, right? Anyway, and I found I'm more interested in your philosophy, in your professional philosophy, call it that way,
Yes.
right? In the professionalism, we're talking about the fact that the crime rate needs to be reduced, but how, right? And we're as for philosophy, everyone knows. Okay, let's reduce it. Let's reduce it. But how you want to reduce it, right? And you got to the point of talking about the morals. The morality get down because people are not. I mean, the officers are not. We're not there. Are not that eager as they were to arrest people who deserve to be arrested.
Right.
Because if they make a mistake, they get punished. Am I right?
Yeah, severely. Severely.
Severely, huh? Okay, tell me the support, the spiritual or moral support that the officers on the street need to go ahead to keep the community safe.
You know, the union, the police union did a survey, and the department, it was a morale survey, and the morale survey came back that the people on the department, the morale is as low as it has ever knowingly been. And when you have employees who aren't happy at their job, who believe that if they make a little tiny mistake that they are going to get severe discipline, then they don't want to do anything. They want to stay safe because you know what? They have families to support. They have kids to put through school. They have rent to pay.
There's a job that pays the bills, right?
Of course it does. And nobody wants to lose their job. So if you go out, the more you do, the more you can get in trouble. So if that's the case, then the less you do, the less you can get in trouble.
All right.
And that's what's happening right now. And that's not the way we need it. We need employees of the Sheriff's Department, including deputies, to feel comfortable that if they go out and do their job, if they go out and do the right thing, that they're going to be supported. And if they go out and make a mistake, we're human. We all make mistakes. That mistake will not result in their termination or discipline so severe that it costs them their house or something else.
Okay. As to making sure they are doing the right thing, you have protocol to follow anyway.
Policy.
You don't worry about that.
No,
the protocols are there. It's there for decades already, right?
It's been there.
Now you give them encouragement to go out to do according to the protocols, the handbooks, operation will guide us, so on and so forth.
Yes.
Right. Let them do the job. Okay.
That's right.
The other side of the question is that the fact they say we have those criminals on the street are because that we have no prison rooms. Okay, now if these officers go ahead to arrest those people, so there's nowhere for them to send them back.
Well, that's something that the sheriff needs to get involved with. We do need space, but we also need to hire people. Now, he's got so many vacancies right now on the department, so many deputy vacancies, that deputies are getting ordered to go to work 8 to 10 times a month. They have no choice. So they're working their regular shift, and then they have to work all of these overtime spots.
The OT.
They have to work them. There is no choice. They're being pulled away from their family to work all these shifts. This sheriff needs to hire people, but he doesn't know how. He hasn't been able to in 3 years. His programs don't work. He hasn't been able to do what he's supposed to do, and there's a domino effect. And that domino effect impacts the community because you don't have enough people in the police cars. You don't have enough deputies in the jail. You don't have enough deputies in the courts. You don't have enough deputies where they need to be at any one time. And he is tiring out the workforce.
It's the manpower versus the problems.
Yes.
So when you have less manpower, problems, of course, look bigger.
It looks huge. It looks more than you can handle.
Okay. So speaking of jail space, do we have extra jail space or space, whatever, to put them back in? Even the officers just now was asking, go out of the street and make the logic rest.
Well, there are jails that are closed, but the bottom line is he doesn't have enough people to staff jails anyway. So even if we were to build a jail right now, he couldn't staff anything to expand that.
Oh yeah, jail is not a house. It's a system that has people there.
And you know, it's a system that takes a long time to build, but he needs to think ahead. He needs to think of how he can increase the bed space, and he needs, because you know what, if somebody is sentenced by a judge to a year and they only do 10 days, there is no punishment for crime.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's none.
And that's, to me, that's the encouragement.
It is absolute encouragement.
The encouragement.
And you know the saying, crime does not pay? In L.A. County,
pays.
doing only 10 days on a year, crime pays.
Yeah, you're right, you're right. You know, somebody, if I want to commit something, I say, oh yeah, I'm facing a 1-year punishment. Now it comes to 10 days, that's all, it's worth it. Let's do it.
That's right.
So it's an encouragement for sure.
Yes.
Right? So now that has to be changed, right? How we want to change it, we need a better hand. The better hand, a different hand. The hand represents the 3 adjectives, right? And the hand that knows how to get the job done. And even if we have a jailhouse, the house is a jail is not only a house. A jail has its whole system to run. To run the system, you need the people. When you have a serious shortage of people, though, your jailhouse is not even helping.
Right.
Okay, oh, very good. And I still have time to insert another one. And you were second on the job list, your bucket list. Okay, serving, protecting, and constantly communicating with the LA County residents.
Yes.
How do you do that?
You know what? When this sheriff came in, he got rid of a lot of community groups. And my goal is to get closer to the community. So how do we do that? We go to your listeners. We go to them and ask them who would like to participate.
Yeah. And not only the TV show, but the radio shows, and talk to them.
And if they're shy and they don't want to come on a radio show or a TV show, what we can do is we can have smaller groups where we put them together and we ask
forums.
What are your community problems? What are your issues? How can we talk to you? How can we get closer to you? And then we give them somebody that they can contact that understands, somebody that speaks the language, somebody that understands the country, somebody that understands what their specific needs are in that community. And that's how you fix things. You know what? A lot of people are afraid to come to the police, and I understand that. A lot of people will call in and they get the wrong person or they don't know who to call. When you have somebody that you know you can call that will listen, you get more phone calls. And that's what we need. We need more phone calls.
Absolutely. That's why you say here, constant communication.
Yes.
Right? You want to constantly communicating with the LA County residents.
Yes.
I'm very sorry. We have only 60 minutes in an hour. Well, we wait until someday, somehow, we get 80 minutes in an hour. Probably we can do more. Anyway, we want to continue. We are here. We're at number 2. I want to make a mark here. This is where we break off 10, 19. We break off, and we'll continue, right? Because my audience will ask me anyway, right? So, my dear audience, thank you for watching. And today is one of the shows talking about, I'm not promoting anybody. I hate politics. I only want to make sure LA has a better hand for county sheriff. That's it. Because it's my own life I'm talking about.
That's right.
I'm being selfish myself, right? Okay. With me, my good friend, Bob Lindsay. Not only I like him as a friend, but the fact is I like him for his beautiful set of mind, for his ability of handling the job, for his 32 condensed years at the service of all levels, which make him of no training at all when he started. If you probably can start the next minute if necessary. Right?
I'm ready right now if I get the phone call.
Very good. All right. So, okay, thank you very much. And Bob, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Jack.
All right, good.